So I want to start from the second part of the parsha, the part of the finding the shidduch for Yitzchak. This is actually one of the longest chapters in the entire Torah. At 67 psukim. It's a fascinating chapter. It's interesting. We don't know anything about Abraham's dating life. We just know he married Sarah. When it comes to Yitzchak's dating life, extremely extensive. It comes to Jacob's dating life, extremely extensive. So I want to take some interesting lessons about dating and about shidduchim from this week's parsha. And especially in this shul, I think it's pretty relevant. Number one, speaking to the fact that Avraham Avinu's shidduch was not discussed in the Torah. I once heard my Rebbe said, even children who complain that their parents don't understand them, they're not as religious as them, or they're much more religious than them. He said the following. He said, the Torah does not specify Abraham and Sarah's marriage, and courting and dating, because Abraham had no help. Exactly, Terach wasn't exactly on the same page as him, trying to assist him to build the Jewish home. Isaac and Jacob had parents who were able to guide them. If you have parents who love you, you may disagree with them on certain things, but parents know how a child feels. Parents can see if a child is happy. So don't undermine this opportunity to get help from a parent. And Isaac is getting a lot of help from Abraham, from his father. After he loses Sarah, he single-handedly tries to get his son married. Abraham is old, coming towards his days, and Hashem blessed Abraham with everything. Everything, but he has a son who's not yet married. ויאמר אברהם אל עבדו זקן ביתו המושל בכל אשר לו שים לידך תחת ירכי. Listen to this part. Abraham said to his servant, the elder of his household, who controls all that is his. So, it's interesting. On one hand, he's an Eved, he's a slave. On the other hand, he's a very successful financial manager. He's managing the entire estate of Abraham. HaMoshel b'chol asher lo. He has full control of everything that is in the hands of Avraham. And here I heard a beautiful verse that I want to share with you. This is the following. Abraham had complete trust in Eliezer. He had all of his checkbooks. He signed his documents. He did the wire transfers for him. He confirmed them. He had full trust. He had full control for all the finances. But when it comes to find a shidduch for his son, what does that mean? Place your hand under my thigh. Okay? If a rabbi will tell anyone to place their hand under their thigh, that's the end of any illustrious rabbinic career. But the truth is, back then, first of all, when you make a shvuah, when you would swear, you would hold the Torah scroll in your hands to do a chefta shel mitzvah, hold on to an object of a mitzvah. As when people swear in today, elected officials, sometimes they place their hand over a Bible. Perhaps sometimes it's even going to be a Quran. But for us, you have to put it over an object of mitzvah. They don't have a Torah scroll. What's the only object of mitzvah that they have? It's a Brit Milah. So toward the thigh was the sign. That's the covenant. I want you to swear. This is something so important to me. So I heard a beautiful thought. Today, most people don't trust anyone when it comes to finances. You don't give your PIN number to anyone. You don't give your credit card number to anyone. But when it comes to dating, sure, I'll go out with anyone at any time. I'm not going to do research. And Avraham Avinu is the exact opposite. He has a servant. He trusts everything, all of his financial matters. I trust you. When it comes to finding a shidduch for my son, I want to verify. I want you to swear. It's about the priorities. What do we care about? What kind of things are you looking into? So it's okay, again, to do research. People, every stock you invest in, Exactly. How many articles do you read? How many people do you call up before you choose investments? When you choose who you spend your life with, okay, it feels right. It doesn't feel right. It's important. You should place even a higher importance to whom you spend your life with, rather than exactly how you spend your finances. "והשביעך בהשם אלוקי השמיים ואלוקי הארץ, אשר לא תיקח אישה לבני מבנות הכנעני, אשר אנוכי יושב בקרבו." What does Abraham make Eliezer swear? Do not take a Canaanite girl among whom I dwell. Rather, to my land and to my kindred shall you go to take a wife for my son, for Isaac. כי לארצי ומולדתי תלך ולקחת אישה לבני יצחק, ויאמר אליו העבד, אולי לא תובע אישה ללכת אחריי אל הארץ הזאת, השב אשיב את בנך אל הארץ אשר יצאת משם. Eliezer tells Abraham, Ulai. What is Ulai? What's Ulai?
Maybe.
What? Maybe, perhaps. What happens if she's not interested in coming to the land of Canaan? Should I return your son to live there? So basically there are two requirements. Abraham says, I want a girl from my hometown, but I want my kid to live here. Eliezer tells him, you don't always get everything you want in life. What's more important to you? The family or the location? Who he's going to marry or where he's going to live? A very important detail over here, which gives a whole introduction to the verse, what's happening, is as follows. Eliezer really comes to the front stage. Our sages say Eliezer had a daughter that was eligible that he wanted for Isaac. And Isaac, and Abraham is telling him, guess what? I ain't interested in being your mechut. First of all, it's never a comfortable conversation. But still, he's trying to see. Perhaps it doesn't work out the way you want. I'm not your number one choice. Maybe I'm choice number two. Our sages go out of their way to praise Eliezer. Eliezer is able to act what they call today in English in fiduciary responsibility, even though he had personal interests that would be otherwise. The ability to act, first of all, a good shadchan is someone who's able to act on behalf of the best interest of the person who's doing a shidduch, not on their own behest. Eliezer is the ultimate example of someone who does that. Another thing that I think is important to mention, it's interesting, in modern society, people get help with everything. People need, and by the way, I literally had conversations today about it. If you need help losing weight, get a trainer in the gym to get into shape. We'll go over your Ozempic. People, if you need financial advice, you get a financial advisor. If you need an apartment, you get a real estate broker. When it comes to finding a shidduch, asking help from a matchmaker, Rabbi, what do you think? I'm a successful guy and I have a great job, and why should I ask anyone for help? So first of all, shidduchim is just like anything else. It's okay to ask for help. Sometimes you need intermediaries that help. And in this case, Abraham is asking for Eliezer to intervene and to help him out. And our sages say, Yafa sichatan shel avdei avot yoter mitoratan shel banim. Sharei kama gufei Torah enam nemarim ela beremez. Our sages say that so many things in the Torah are derived from one letter, from one word. The Torah is very short with its descriptions. When it comes to the story of Eliezer finding a shidduch for Isaac, 67 verses. Our sages say the conversations of the servants of our forefathers are greater than the Torah of the children. So there's a lot of wisdom to learn over here. In addition, Rav Aaron Kotler says when it comes to halacha, it's very easy to learn. When it comes to character, it's much more difficult to learn how to behave. Halacha, it's either forbidden or it's forbidden. When it comes to character and how to behave in certain situations. It's not simple. How to have the human interactions. And specifically when it comes to marriage, that's like the ultimate sensitive aspect of when you think about yourself, you think about others. Is it, how do you relate to others? It's much more difficult. Our sages say, "Gadol shimusha yoter mimidah." You could learn more sometimes from being around a person with great character than studying in a Torah class. How are we supposed to behave? And we're going to learn a lot of small but important messages from Eliezer. Okay. What does Avram respond to him? What does he say? Let's continue. "Perhaps the woman shall not wish to follow me." Avram answered him, "Beware not to return my son to there." So what does Avram say? What's more important? The family or the location? So does that mean that it's okay if she's not ready to come back? What does Avram want? There's a debate. According to Rashi says, what happens if she's not going to want to come back? You should take someone from the daughters of Aner, Eshkol, and Mamre. Who are Aner, Eshkol, and Mamre? Who are they? There is, it's the first Abraham Accords. These were his co-conspirators in the War of the 4 Kings against the 5 Kings when he went to say, look, these are his people he does business with, he trusted them. So according to Rashi said, plan B was to marry a Canaanite woman. So my question is, it was so important. Why was it more important that Isaac not go live there?
His location changes. That he'll assimilate.
But obviously the situation in the land of Canaan is all the locals are not good for him. So the locals are not good. He needs someone from your family character of Abraham. Okay, but she's not willing to come. So character is more important. Why suddenly, according to Rashi, suddenly throw it out the window? So perhaps, again, it's a suggestion. I don't know.
Abraham would have influence on that.
He wanted the character of his family, but he wanted her to be able to go that journey. To also to be able to do a lech lecha. To also be able to go, it wasn't enough. He wanted someone who's willing to leave their home. He wanted someone who's willing to leave their home. According to the Or Chaim and the Ramban, they say no. That it never was the case that Avram was okay with a local shidduch. Plan B was for Yitzchak, according to Nachmanides, was to marry someone from the family of Lot or from the family of Ishmael. According to the Or Chaim, that would not be, again, he agrees as well. That he just said, you're absolved from your obligation if she's not willing to go. But that, again, it never gave permission to marry a Canaanite woman. Okay, let's continue. Avram also adds very powerful words. Hu yishlach malacho lefanav. He tells Eliezer, God will send his angel before you. So to speak, what does it mean he'll send his angel before you? Yishlach malacho lefanav. There's a debate whether it's a prayer or it's a prophecy. According to one opinion, Avram actually had a prophecy. This is going to work out. He wasn't really concerned about option plan B. Okay, let's continue. וישם עבד את ידו תחת ערך אברהם אדוניו וישבע לו על הדבר הזה. Eliezer takes the oath. ויקח עבד 10 גמלים. He took 10 camels. Why did he take 10 camels? Anyone? Why 10? According to the Chizkuni, he says a beautiful explanation. It says the Chizkuni, כדי להרכיב עליהם 10 נשים לברך ברכת אירוסין ונישואין. The Chizkuni says, listen, have a wedding. How many people do you need for a wedding? Ideally, if you don't have a minyan, if you're in Soviet Russia and you're doing a secret chuppah, you could have 2 kosher witnesses. But ideally, you have a minyan. I once had someone walk into my office. It's always, I had a couple walk into my office. Rabbi, we need you to marry us tomorrow. I said, okay, no more questions asked. I understand the situation. And by the way, shortly afterwards, I was invited to bris, just like I think 8 months later. But again, they said, Rabbi, how many people do we need to have? I said, listen, ideally, again, you're not doing anything illegal. You should have a minyan. So it says the Chizkuni, he took 10 camels for 10 people. For Birkat Erusim V'Nisuim. That's a Chizkuni. The Rokeach writes, Keneged Rivka u'menikta v'sheva na'arotea ha'evet. He took for Rivka's nurse, Rivka was young, and for the 7 maidens, and for himself, the slave. So basically, Eliezer already goes knowing, preparing for the best. There was once a famous story about a Rebbe gave a blessing. 2 people came to him asking for a blessing for a child. And he gave both of them a blessing. In 1 year from now, you should have a child. The first one had a child, the second one did not. The second one comes, Rebbe, why did the bracha work for the first and not for me? Is anything personal? He says, listen, the difference between the 2 of you, the moment I gave him a bracha, he went right away to the Bugaboo store, and he got a stroller, then he went and then he got a crib, then he reserved a night nurse. He was ready. You didn't do anything. You didn't seize it. Eliezer is getting ready for a positive outcome. She's going to come back with him. Let's continue. He takes 10 camels. And he goes and all the goodness of his master is with him. What does that mean? What is all the goodness of his master with him?
Riches.
So it's interesting. There are a few explanations. I'll go with Rashi the last, because Rashi has the most fascinating answer. Rashi says the following. Not Rashi, sorry. Let's start with the Radak. לקח רוב טובו מכסף זהב ומרגליות להראות עושרו של אברהם. Radak says, no, of course, obviously he didn't take all of his wealth. He took gold, silver, and jewels to show the wealth of Abraham. So in a way, Abraham wants to show off wealth, which is interesting. According to the Ramban, the Nachmanides, לקח מכל טוב אדוניו כדי מסע 10 גמלים. No, he didn't take all of his wealth. Whatever could fit on 10 camels, that's how much wealth he took. So first of all, you see from here that Abraham wants to show off his wealth to try to make a shidduch. Doesn't hide his wealth. He shows it off, which is very interesting. Rashi says the most extreme response to it. He literally took all of the wealth of Abraham with him. What was all the wealth, says Rashi? כתב ליצחק שטר מתנה על כל רכושו. Abraham wanted to make his son an eligible bachelor. And what did he do? What did Abraham do? As they speak today, wealth transfer. While he's still alive, he writes a document. My son is standing like Warren Buffett. This is his last message to his investors. My entire wealth is transferred to my son. I want you to skip to the end of the parsha. The end of the parsha, after Rebecca comes, and after Rebecca comes to Israel, he marries Isaac. It says, where was Isaac when Eliezer was coming with Rebecca towards Isaac? Where was Isaac coming from? No, 1 second. That's when she falls off the camel, before Mincha. What happened? Where was Yitzchak coming from? Let's take a look. I want you to turn to the next, which page? I want you to turn to the end of page 118, verse 62. ויצחק בא מבוא באר לחי רועי, והוא יושב בארץ הנגב. Where's Isaac come? Now, Isaac came from having gone to Be'er Lachai Roi, for he dwelt in the south of the country. What is Be'er Lachai Roi? Rashi, one of the most unpaid attention to Rashi's. Shehalach lehavi Hagar leAvraham aviv. Isaac, where was Isaac? He went to call back Hagar. Where was Hagar? Why was Hagar away? What was she away? She was kicked out. Who kicked her out?
Sarah.
Because of Sarah. Why did Sarah kick out Hagar? Because of the bad influence of Yitzchak. Yitzchak was the real reason Hagar had to be kicked out. And Yitzchak goes himself, after his father becomes a widow from Sarah, and he gets up from burying Sarah. Isaac, and this is so, no one pays attention to this. While Avram is taking care of the shidduch for Yitzchak, what is Yitzchak doing? Taking care for the shidduch of his father. Simultaneously. One is taking care of another. It's interesting, by the way, in the halakha, also not very well known, in halakha, children are not obligated. Children are obligated to respect their parents. Children are not obligated to go to the second wedding of their parents. If your parent is a widow or got divorced, and your father or mother are getting remarried, according to halakha, you're not obligated to go. It's not considered disrespectful to a parent. It understands. Again, if a child wants to go, obviously that's their right. There's understanding of the difficulty to a child to see a different person standing with their parents. So Isaac is able, it's not an easy thing to do. He goes to get Hagar for his wife. And here's, I want to end the shiur with, I think, this important message. I think we make a mistake on both ways in today's world. If it's possible just to close that door for a second. Is the following. We live in a generation where parents don't let their kids grow up and kids don't let their parents move on. I had once a parent call me up, Rabbi, help my son with the shidduch, this, that. Again, I have this conversation so often. As a mother walked into my office, Rabbi, my son is such an amazing kid. He's so brilliant. He's so talented. He's so successful. He's so smart. Please, help find a shidduch. She was talking for 20 minutes, and I look at her and I say, can I ask you one question? She says, what? Do you do your son's laundry? She says, how do you know? Stop doing his laundry. That's number one. But speaking seriously, very often children are completely dependent on their parents. They have no sense. And by the way, even in very wealthy families, they don't let their kids be on their own, be their own people. And by the time, sometimes the more successful the parents are, the more difficult it is for children to find their own place. And the parents call me up, Rabbi, my children, give your children independence. The greatest gift you could give them, make them their own people. Abraham does something fascinating. To help his son find a shidduch, he makes him independently wealthy. Isaac does not depend. Again, Isaac's credit card weren't bouncing before. But Isaac doesn't need to wait for an allowance from his father. He sends him off. Isaac is not just the son of Abraham. He's his own man. So Abraham allows Isaac to grow into his own. And Isaac allows his father to move on. So often, a lot of what I spend as kids, we're not going to forgive a parent for remarrying or for trying to find the themselves love later on in life. And very often they're unable, and they'll tell the parent, you got to choose. If you marry X, you can't see the kids. Again, using grandchildren's collateral. Again, listen, these are very complex issues. But there are two things that I think that it's important to learn from this parasha. The beauty of the father taking care of the son and the son taking care of the father. It's allowing your children to grow up and allowing your parents to move on. Thank you so much. Okay, now for the highlights with Gracie Chechik in the other room.